Thank you for listening to Life Improvement Radio. You are listening to a rebroadcast of a previously recorded show.
We're live at the Miami Book Fair, powered by Life Improvement Radio, on Author's Corner and the Total Education Network. Again, TotalTutor.net for more information. Twitter, Total Tutor, Neil S. Haley, Facebook, and I'm with Eric Remmel from Life Improvement Radio, who's powering us. It's amazing. So I want to welcome to the program another awesome author, author of Ready for a Brand New Beat, Mark Kurlansky. Mark, thanks for coming by the studio, and I'm sure you're excited to talk to our audience.
I am very much so.
Absolutely, and you're a very interesting guy. I remember we were talking about your book, What, a couple years ago, and I was hoping last year we were going to be on because, again, I just find you very fascinating, and we could talk philosophical talk all day long. And this was very timely for this book, wasn't it, Mark?
It really was. I mean, I had thought about the book for a long time, and it took me some time to write it. But so really, just kind of by chance, it's the book was coming out, and the Supreme Court was gutting the Voters' Rights Act, and I thought, oh my, people have forgotten what this stuff is about, and This book is about the importance of a song. It's a great song, and it's important. And the reason that great songs are important is that they tell us who we are and what we come from and what we aspire to. And this song, possibly just by chance, by the fact that it came out in the end of July 1964, a very political moment, reminds us of the time and those hard-fought battles. And, it came out about 3 days before the official beginning of the Vietnam War. It came out a few weeks after the first urban black insurrection, which was in Harlem and Bed-Stuy in New York. And it was the summer... you could say it was the summer when the Black Rights Movement lost its patience. The summer of the Mississippi Freedom Summer, and the tremendous battle that went on there and cost people's lives, and then the Democratic Party would not seat their delegation. The Mississippi Freedom Party instead accepted the all-white delegation, and it was the summer that Malcolm X said, "We want our rights by any means necessary." And
yeah,
so there were these explosions in cities
exactly.
all over the country in the beginning of every summer. You'd sort of dread what's going to blow up this summer. In 1967, in the summer of 1967, there were 120 of these things. And they would sing Dancing in the Street. Because, here's this song. It's got this strong black voice saying, calling out around the world, are you ready for a brand new beat? Summer's here and the time is right for dancing in the street. How, in the context of the times, what is that supposed to mean? And then it goes on to say, we're dancing in Chicago, and it lists all these different cities. Well, they're all cities that have strong black populations. And it became a black power anthem. They would play it at rallies. And, I kind of remember the whole evolution of this because I was a high school kid when the song first came out. I should say, first of all, just such a great song with such a great backup band. And when I was in high school, what the song basically meant to me was I was very happy whenever it was played at school dances. You'd hear that trumpet intro and you'd know it was coming, and that was great because this song you cannot dance badly to. So it's just what you need. And that was kind of it. And for me, in 1964 as a high school kid, but in 1966 as a college kid, and kind of starting to get out in the streets about Vietnam and other things, and dancing in the street took on a different meaning, and it did for a lot of us.
What was it like, Mark, doing the research for this book?
partly it was fun.
I can imagine.
I mean, I had fun with Martha Reeves in Detroit, and going around and introducing me to her friends and people in the music industry in Detroit. It was interesting. I learned a lot that I hadn't known about the music industry. One of the things I learned is that the people that you want to talk to, the people who really know why the song was done and what it was about and things like that, are not the performers. They're the producers and the writers, those people. It was interesting to talk to so many people about this song, and I never had anybody who said, "Oh, what's that?" or "Oh, who cares?" or this was a song that just thrilled people on all kinds of different levels, depending on who they were and what they were into.
Absolutely, it's a song that you just keep singing that beat, right, over and over again.
Yeah. It's partly because it has great drumming and great James Jamerson's bass playing, and it just, I did here in Miami now, when I talk about this book, the first thing I do is I play the song. And I do this partly for my own amusement, because I watch the people sitting out there in the audience, and they can't sit still. Feet start clapping, and shoulders start shaking, and you just can't not react to this song. And so it goes on and on. I mean, the song's had 40 covers and new ones coming all the time, and it means different things to different people. Everybody that I talked to in the music business agreed that it doesn't really matter what the people who wrote the song intended. Whatever the song means to you is what the song means to you. And so there's some question about whether the song originally was intended to be about this Black Power stuff. I can't say for certain because of two things. One, it was written by three people: Marvin Gaye and Ivy Jo Hunter, who was an in-house musician, and Mickey Stevenson, who was the A&R director, the guy who put the music together with the musicians for Motown. And a key person would have been Marvin Gaye, who I couldn't talk to. Marvin Gaye, who was extremely political and was always arguing with his brother-in-law, Berry Gordy, about Motown not being relevant enough, and how it couldn't just be about love and heartaches, and they had to deal with, with what's going on, which is how he finally broke Motown out of that song, What's Going On. But
how's the response to the book been? Have you gotten a lot of messages or anybody sharing what the song means to them?
No, not too much. But I don't. I don't have an interactive website, or I kind of hide. I don't talk to people that much. So, but one thing that I have found is that everybody remembers where they first heard it.
Yes,
and lots of stories about that.
And you know the beat, and it still plays all the time, and that's the key component of everything, Mark. And
yeah, it is that great trumpet intro, Johnny Trudell and Floyd James, and it's just that intro does just what you want an intro to do. You just hear it and you know what's coming. Martha Reeves told me that they play that intro and immediately everybody gets to their feet.
And they get to their feet and they're excited as can be, right?
Right.
For sure.
Right. It's always their closing song. Martha's still performing.
And Richard, they want. I mean, Mark, they want you to basically. You want our audience to find out that reads the book about that time and think about that time in so many ways. That's one of your reasons. A lot of you have underlying themes, right?
Absolutely, because this song became so involved in the struggle for black rights, and it reminds us of just what a hard struggle it was, and people don't really remember that whole thing the way it was. They remember Martin Luther King as a man who talked about love. My daughter's in the 8th grade, and every Martin Luther King Day, she Here's things about Martin Luther King and love. Martin Luther King wasn't about love. Martin Luther King was about political activism. You know, it was like Rosa Parks didn't sit down because she was too tired from shopping. She was an NAACP activist, and she did it to integrate interstate busing. These people were, you know, heroically determined and fought hard, and it wasn't always, you know, there wasn't always a consensus about what to do, especially in 1964 and after. When, yeah, but another thing people forget is that integration wasn't really working. Brown v. Board of Education had not integrated schools, and Mississippi Freedom Summer did not register many black voters, and there was this feeling that it all wasn't working, and that they had to do something else, and people started questioning if integration was the should be the goal, whether it was the right goal.
So interesting, Mark, the book, and I know you're probably already working on a new project, aren't you? You're always
a few of them.
And what have you been doing? Speaking at the Miami Book Fair, what activities, what panels have you been on?
Well, I was just on a panel about music. I always end up feeling like an odd guy out on these panels because, you know, I mean, they were talking about, there was a guy with an interesting book about the Bee Gees, and another group, somebody else with another group, and then there's old Mark talking about civil rights. It's like when I did my book about Dominican baseball, you know, and I was on this panel, and everybody else is talking about sports, and I'm talking about, you know, Caribbean-U.S. relations.
Well, Mark, because you're such an intriguing guy, you could get away with it. you go to the beat of your own drum, right?
Right. I like to think so, anyway.
Well, absolutely. So, Mark, where can we find information on you, purchase your book, and learn more about you?
Well, you find information about me at markkurlansky.com, and you can purchase my book at any independent bookstore, or you can go online to IndieBound, and they will take you to the nearest independent bookstore, or you can go to those other places if you want to.
Well, you're fantastic, and I look forward to talking to you next book that comes out, and you always will have your new theme that you want to discuss that's based a little different than the book to get that conversation going. So best of luck to you, and good luck.
Okay, good talking to you, Neil.
I take care. All right, that was Mark Kurlansky. You're listening to Author's Corner live at the Miami Book Fair, powered by Life Improvement Radio. We'll be back in just a moment.
Thank you for listening to Life Improvement Radio. The views expressed by show hosts or their guests are their own and shall not be construed in any way as advice from Life Improvement Radio. We make no recommendations or endorsements for radio show programs, services, or products mentioned on air or on our website. Personal perspectives expressed by the producers, writers, or editors will always be presented as such. Any rebroadcast or retransmission without the expressed written consent of Life Improvement Radio is strictly prohibited. Thanks for listening.